Hello everyone, and welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is, I found a pair of glasses, and now I'm counting down the days, by Double K.A. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like, and if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street, and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Now, let's get to this nightmare. Today is January 31st, 2022. There are 5,950 days until May 17th, 2038. It seems like yesterday that it was December 12th, 2021. Almost 2 months ago, the 17th of May was 6,000 days away. That was the third milestone in the thousands. And there are still 5 more to go. 50 days feels like yesterday, and 2,544 days feels like a lifetime. That date was February 13th, 2015. 9 days before that was the 4th, and unbeknownst to me, there were 8,494 days until that date. May 17th, 2038. The 137th day of the year. The 20th Monday of the year. 5,950 days. 850 weeks. May 17th, 2038. On the 4th of February, the 5th Wednesday of 2015, I was almost 18. And volunteering for a nursing home after school. I had been doing so for 5 months at that point. I wanted to be a sociologist, and I figured spending time with society's most vulnerable people would be a good experience to put on a college application. I wanted to go out of state, to one of the big boys, Harvard, Oxford, Stanford. I didn't want to be stuck in a small town on such a big planet. I was leaving the building that day, walking along the short path back to the neighborhood, and there it was, by the base of a stump that was just 10 or so feet off the edge of the path. That is where I found them. I was walking fast, and if I was just looking over the hill, or up at the sky, or anywhere but where I was, I probably would have missed them. What I found was a pair of glasses with a green rim and blue temples. I picked them up because I was hoping they would be a close prescription to my own. I never liked the glasses my parents made me wear. They were gray and lifeless. I wanted color. I wanted vibrancy. I put them on, and they were close. Not perfect, but close enough. I couldn't believe my luck. There was no one around, and the glasses were in such great condition. Who could toss them away? I guess someone could have misplaced them, but even if I did decide to return them, I still had to keep them safe. I pocketed them, and figured I'd wear them tomorrow. My parents wouldn't understand, but I knew someone who would. The next day, February 5th, on the 6th Thursday of 2015, I went to the nursing home after school. Once there, I paid a visit to one of my favorite residents, a 95-year-old woman named Virginia. That's not her real name for the sake of anonymity, but her name was just as fitting. She was born on the very first day of the 20s. Back when there was only 120s that people could remember. She was senile, she was cranky, and she could tell the best damn story you have ever heard. Her husband, a man so old that he could have been delivered by Susan B. Anthony herself, was drafted into the Second World War at the age of 38, and he never came home. She never remarried, and in fact, divorced every crap she could ever give about anything. She was the most honest person I knew, even if she couldn't always be aware of it. She hated people, but she liked me. I wanted to show her my glasses because I knew she would understand. And so, I put them on before walking in her room. That's when it first happened. As I walked in, I saw that her son, Sammy, was by her side, the last family member she had, and the only other person besides myself who she had any sort of caring relationship with. He came every Tuesday and Thursday, so I wasn't surprised. What did mystify me, though, were the red numbers floating above their heads. They were bright neon, almost like the display of a digital alarm clock, just without the segmentation of the numbers. They each had one series of numbers above them, and as they would move their heads, the numbers would move too. I must have been petrified for a solid half-minute. It wasn't until Sammy spoke up that I snapped out of it. I was beyond confused, but I had the sense to let it roll over for now. I took the glasses off and apologized. I don't remember the excuse I gave, but I do remember the look he gave me after. A look so puzzled that I could see the pronounced wrinkles through the blur. I said hello to Virginia, and she told me she wanted to see the new glasses I had just stashed away for seemingly no reason. I took an internal deep breath and put them on without hesitation. If something bad is happening to me, I don't want others to get involved. I slid them on, and the numbers appeared once more. I stayed for a few minutes and went on with my daily tasks. I kept the glasses off, except for when I was with Virginia. Near the end of the day, I had memorized the numbers for both of them. Virginia was 020515, and Sammy's was 021015. I had a love for numbers back then, and I recognized each set of 6 digits as a date. Virginia's number was today, and Sammy's was 5 days from now. I finished my work, said goodbye, went home, and put those glasses in my top dresser drawer. I had no idea what was going on with those glasses. I tried to forget the incident ever happened. Being smart is knowing when to observe and when to ignore. And back then, I knew damn well to ignore things that were making my life a mockery. Friday came, school went, and I made my way back to the home. To my sorrow, Virginia had passed the night before in her sleep. I had only been volunteering since September, but I saw my fair share of deaths up to that point. Virginia wasn't even the first resident I grew attached to. I guess because of this, I was able to get through the day fairly normal. I didn't come in on Saturdays and Sundays, and decided I'd do the same for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. I could believe she was gone, but I couldn't handle it just yet. I came back on Thursday, and there was more somber atmosphere than usual. I didn't mention anything until I was about to leave, when I bit the bullet and asked what was going on. It's a sick choice of words to use though, because I was informed that Sammy had died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was a favorite of the staff, along with other residents, so everything clicked into place. I was told he had done it 2 days prior on the 10th. The dots hadn't connected in my head. I was no longer thinking about any stupid glasses. That is, until I got home. I came in, went up the stairs to my room, and had turned the TV on. I had it hooked up to my childhood VCR. I grabbed the one thing that could make me laugh no matter what. George Carlin. I was a big fan of his, and even now, he's still one of the only things that can consistently bring me joy. My dad had given me some of his old tapes from the 90s. Sentimental value always overtook the convenience of YouTube for me. I had decided Carlin was just what I needed at this night, a night which would later feel like an eternity. I grabbed a random tape, which happened to be You Are All Deceased. I had it running for a couple of minutes when I paused it to take a pee. While doing so, I started thinking about the glasses again, and upon returning to my room, I took them out. I couldn't stop myself, as I was just so curious about them. I said before that I knew when to observe and when to ignore. Sadly, I was just feeling a bit stupid. I put them on, and not a single number appeared anywhere. I waited for 5 minutes, looking at every picture around my room, just waiting for them to show up. But nothing. They didn't even show up in my reflection. I gave up, not knowing whether or not to feel relief. I kept them on and resumed the show. But as I did so, and the footage started playing, the numbers returned. Not over the head of any human present, but over George Carlin. They were in the TV, and they followed him, yet they didn't look like they belonged. Compared to the grainy quality of the tape, the numbers were clear and vibrant as ever, but they were in the TV, and even went partially out of frame on some shots. It was then I paid attention to the numbers. 06, 22, 08. As I said before, that I used to enjoy numbers, and when you love numbers, you tend to know a lot about dates. June 22nd, 2008, a time where we were a whole 10,921 days away from May 17th, is the day George Carlin died. It was at that very moment that I remembered the numbers above Virginia and Sammy. I made the same realization that you have made already. These red numbers were death dates. I still don't know much about the numbers. I don't know if they ever change. I don't know how they were in the TV. I don't know how my reflection didn't have them. I don't know why they only appeared when I unpaused the TV. I assume for the same reason they don't appear over photos. It was at this moment where I felt sick. If my room wasn't connected to the bathroom, I would have puked right there. Even still, I barely made it. The next couple of hours were a blur. I feel like I went through every single possible thought one could have about such glasses, but I realized something. I wasn't scared of these glasses, nor was I concerned with them. All I was curious. That night took an eternity, and it wasn't because I was dreading tomorrow, but because I couldn't wait. I had to test these out in the wild, and when I went to school Friday morning, the 7th Friday of the year, I had no other intentions than to use them on my peers. But as I thought about the prospect of doing so, I got cold feet. My brain wanted to know what I was about to do, but every other cell in my body needed to know. I decided to do a little trial round. I started by only looking at people who already passed. I tried Kennedy. I tried Lenin. I tried Hitler. I tried Cobain. I tried Monroe. I did so many people, and every single one was correct. A few of the dates were actually off From what Google told me, however, I quickly realized it was because it did each date as if it was in Central Time, my personal time zone. My intrigue finally got the best of me, and I finally looked at when some people were going to die. Granted, I only did old celebrities, people who were on their way out anyway. I figured it would soften any impact this information would have on me. Not all of them have died. Noam Chomsky stays around longer than you'd think, but a good portion of them have. I knew Fidel Castro was gonna die on 11/25/16. I knew Doris Day was gonna die on 05/13/19, and I was the first to know that both Prince Philip and Betty White died painfully close to their 100th year. The one that really affected me was Christopher Lee, not because I'm a particularly big LOTR fan, but because it was less than 4 months away. I had pumped myself up, and I was more determined than anyone else in the world. I needed to finally put it to practical use. I had to pick a target, someone who I didn't care about. I picked Aaron, the biggest douchebag in the school. He never touched me or even laid eyes my way, as most people don't, but he did make life a living hell for so many students. Most of them were some of the only people who had treated me right. I followed him to a mostly empty hallway, got into position where he was the only guy I could see. I put the glasses on. 030918. This time, I truly did feel sick, and it didn't go away. I haven't done much the past 7 years, but one thing I did, the one thing I'm proud of, was try. I tried to do everything I could to keep that kid alive. I tried talking to him. I tried listening to him. I tried standing up for him. I tried everything I could possibly do to keep his heart pumping. I eventually did befriend him. He never got on drugs. He never hit the bottle. He never got into a fight again. Never drove drunk. Never tried to beat a train. He went from almost getting expelled his senior year for assaulting a teacher to getting into a halfway decent college. And on March 9th, 2018, he died of a brain aneurysm. But that was later, and now is then. After seeing those numbers, I screamed so loudly that people outside the building reportedly heard it. I ran to the nearby water fountain and puked all the air out of my gut. Due to last night, I had nothing to expel but regret. But it never went away. I had caused a scene, and it was at that moment where I made the worst mistake of my life. I wasn't cheating on a test in the 4th grade. I wasn't wasting my first 2 years of high school in an abusive relationship. I was turning around. What I saw were dozens of teenagers, and just as many numbers. And it was then that I saw a horror comprehensible in concept, but unimaginable in reality. 051738, 051738, 051738. It was everywhere. I saw 1 or 2 dates below, but almost all of them were nothing but 051738. It was a glowing red sea over the heads of the masses, and it couldn't be parted. I ran out the school. I don't remember how I did it, or even where I exited, but sometime later, I tripped in the woods. I was only a few miles from the school, in the foliage not too far behind the building, but I felt like I was in a different realm of existence from anyone else. I sat there for a few hours and then pulled my phone out. I had no signal, but I had videos on my phone, particularly ones taken during a recent family reunion in Dallas, where my family and I went to Six Flags. I looked through those videos, not the ones that had me and my family. God no. I looked at all the strangers, the park attendants, the families, everyone I could find. Every single one had a number. I couldn't see every number, since most of them were small, being over the heads of those in the background, but almost every number I saw was the exact same, 051738. Most of the ones were a different number, were the elderly. It was then when it hit me, the fact that everyone, including me, seemingly was going to die in just a little over 23 years. I scrolled through my camera roll, checking for any other possible videos. Every video was the same, but one. In preparation for the upcoming 2016 election, I had been editing a music video about the various candidates that could run. I was going to post it to YouTube and everything, but it never happened. The video had a lot of past and current politicians in it. Most of the numbers were lower, due to the old ages of these politicians, but there were still a good bit of 051731 throughout the various stock footage I had utilized. But it was different. Certain people in the video did not have that number, or even one lower. No, some had one higher. Obama's number wasn't 051738. It was 082249. Rand Paul's was 040940. Ted Cruz's number was 120162. I have memorized the dates for almost every notable figure I saw with those glasses, because they changed everything for me. I don't know what is going to happen on May 17th, 2038. Whatever it is, some screwholes and lucky sons of bitches must have gotten away. When I finished that video, I took those glasses off, threw them to the ground, took a rock, and did to those glasses what they did to me, shatter their perception of reality. On the outside, I lived a normal life for the next 5 years. February 13th was treated as a random mental snap, despite everything I ever said in my life about my town. How it was a crap hole, how it was in the middle of nowhere, how it had nothing to offer. It gave me help. My community gave me help. Did it fix me? No, largely because it wasn't something even explainable. I can only do the back and forth so much when I'm keeping the biggest secret in the world. But I was still better until 2020, when the virus appeared. All the thoughts came back. Not even so much that we were all gonna die, but what the hell could be the cause of it? I always thought it was gonna be an asteroid or nuclear warfare, but could this be it? A virus that sweeps everywhere, killing everyone. I wonder about a lot of things. I wonder who had the glasses, why they left them there, how they work, and if I should have kept them. Maybe those glasses were the key to helping people not die so soon, and I was too scared to let them. For almost the past 2 years, I've been an even more hollow shell. I told everyone that could listen about what I saw and how I was with Aaron when he died, because I knew something was going to happen, and how every day I live in fear, and I count down the days. I've done plenty of damage, enough to where I don't think I can go back. As for now though, I'm existing, which is more than I can say to the me 5,950 days from now. I don't know how much longer I can manage to be around. A little over 16 years is a long time to go on like this, but at the same time, I feel I would be doing myself a disservice by not waiting. I let 6 numbers change my entire outlook on reality. I need to know what the hell happens. Maybe it's the rapture, and suicide would just leave me as one of those locked out. All I know is that I used to be stuck in a small town on a big planet. Now though, I have all the space I could need within my own mind, and the scale of Earth appears to shrink almost as much as its future, one day at a time.